Let's talk about some of the top players you should avoid recruiting in college football 25. We did a whole entire series dedicated to testing players' archetypes and how they develop in this game. So in this video, we're pretty much going to cover some of the players that you might want to avoid recruiting for one reason or another. If y'all want to see the other videos, click the playlist on this video and check them out. If y'all enjoy the content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go over to my Twitch. We're live streaming over there every single day. So the first position and archetype, in my opinion, you should avoid recruiting is going to be the vertical threat tight end, man. And I know some people gonna comment, vertical threat tight end is the best in the game. I got one that's a 99 overall. No, you don't. You're lying. First of all, you're lying. But seriously, these vertical threat tight ends, they do not develop nowhere near as well as the blocking or the possession, man. But the vertical threats are going to be the most fun to use. They come in with the high speed, the good catching, but overall wise, they're not going to be great. And overall matters because pro potential, you want to put players in NFL, and that helps your program prestige. But if you do want the best user-friendly tight end, it's probably going to be the vertical threat. And you look here, we're at the national tight end, so we're able to see all of the best tight ends in the league. And you look at the top guys, you got a blocking, possession, 87 overall, big jump, 93 all the way down to 87. You finally get the possession guy, blocking, another blocking. Then you get to the vertical threat tight end. That's going to be the 11th best tight end in this game right now. And then you continue to look here. Let's keep going. Blocking, he's only 85 overall also. Continue to look, more blockings. Then you get another vertical threat. Okay, we got 2 vertical threats in the whole top 20. All of these guys are blocking and possession, mainly blocking. Continue to look here. You got to scroll a good while to get to the next one. He's at 84 overall. Let's keep scrolling all the way down. Can we get to the third one, the fourth one? He's going to be 82 overall. These guys are not developing, man. They are not good overall wise. If you want the most fun experience, go for the vertical threat, or I'll suggest getting the vertical threat and also getting the blocking tight end at least so you can help improve your pro potential. But in general, I probably wouldn't recruit any tight ends that's not a gym. Tight end is a very tricky position, man. You get these guys, they come in and they do not have great skill caps, man. They're maxing out as like a 79 overall as the 4-star if you get them at a normal or a bust. So I just suggest going after all gym tight ends. You could bring in busts at other positions like O-line. You could bring in a bust O-lineman. He could turn out to be a 90 overall player. Tight end, that will never happen. So it's also worth mentioning, this is a dynasty far in the future. So this is all AI generated players that was recruited. And so these are no real life players in here on this list. Let's move over to the wide receiver. And what I want to focus on next is going to be the athlete wide receiver. And I think you should avoid recruiting that if you want to keep it at the wide receiver position. Just because they're going to come in at the lowest overall as an athlete wide receiver. If you keep them at wide receiver, it's going to be the lowest overall. If you move them over to safety or cornerback, their overall is going to be higher. Let's say you get a 4-star athlete wide receiver. They're going to come in around a 71 overall receiver. If you move them over to safety, he might go up to a 76. But if you just get you a regular physical wide receiver, he's going to be like a 76 overall from a jump at a wide receiver. So for me personally, I'm not going after the athlete physical wide receivers if I need a wide receiver. I'm only going after one of those guys if I'm going to move them to tight end or if I'm going to move them to the defensive side of the ball. And look here, we're at the wide receiver list. Let's do our test once again, man. And you're going to see here, it seems like the physical wide receivers just develop the least out of all of these other wide receivers. So you got the deep threat, route runner. A lot of these guys are going to be the top players, man. The deep threats and the route runners. You scroll down here, you got to scroll for a little bit to get to the first physical. He's an 89 overall. That's not bad. That's pretty good. He got good attributes, 97 speed. He's a good player for sure. But you got to scroll a little bit, man. You see the top couple receivers are all going to be the deep threat and route running. So get the one physical. Let's keep going. More deep threats. You get another physical here. He's a 90 overall. Good player. Keep scrolling. More deep threats, route runners. Another physical. You get 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 4 in a row. They're all kind of maxing out around that 80 to 90 overall compared to the route runner and deep threats. They're getting up to the 95 overalls. Man, you got some of them guys going crazy. And I'm looking at the overall in the top right corner. I'm not looking at the overall in the middle of the screen. That's the overall with the tactician boost. So I'm not even looking at that. Let's go to the O-line, and we're going to talk about the whole interior of the O-line. In my opinion, the pass blocking, pass protector, interior O-lineman, center guard, for me, it's a no-go. Unless you get you a true demon like this. This is a rarity, man. This rarely happens, but you can for sure get them. But 9 times out of 10, maybe not even 9, let's say 6 times out of 10, the pass protector O-linemen are going to have the low strength, and having that low strength and then also the bad run blocking as an interior O-lineman is not going to work in my offense. But this guy right here, he is a 94 strength, and his run blocking and pass blocking is elite. This is a phenomenal player. He also has some crazy abilities. This is a rare thing. You look at some of these other pass blockers. First, let's continue to look. You got some power guys that look crazy. Power, you got pass protector, and look at the strength. This is what I'm talking about. He's an 88 overall, good player, 81 strength. Too low, just too low, and the run blocking is mid. You get you a center that's a pass blocker is almost a waste, man. It's almost a waste. You want your center to have good strength, especially if you run inside zone up the middle. You're not really going to be able to run the ball and rely on your center to block anything in the run game if he has the low strength. The strength has to do with holding on to the block for a long period of time. So they're just going to get block shed consistently if they have that low strength rating. So I'd much rather move any pass protector to the tackle positions. Either tackle position. If I have one guard pass protector, he just got to have some solid strength and some solid run blocking ability, and you'll get some of them. I'm not saying all pass protector interior O-lineman is bad. There's some dogs in here for sure. Like this right here. This looks like a dog. He looks like a pretty good player, man. The run blocking is good. The pass blocking is phenomenal. The strength is 87. This is a great player. But when you get to one of these guys with the 81, I can't really do the 81. 85 that's not even a pass protector, but 85 is a little bit pushing it. Also, you get the 82 down here. That's a little bit too low for me, especially for an inside guy. I would much rather get me like an agile center or a power at something else. I don't want a pass protector as my center. I feel like that's a waste. I would do it as, like I said, a guard if necessary, but center, I want to avoid that at all costs, me personally. All right, next, let's move over to the defense side of the ball, and let's talk about the D tackles, man. I said this in another video, and y'all did not like this, but y'all got to look at the results. The D tackle, I don't like the speed rusher, man. People saying the speed rusher a dog, is this, is that. It's cool, but they don't develop, man. They develop the worst out of all the D tackles, and this is a perfect example, man. Let's look here. So we have a bunch of D tackles. They're solid overall, 93. We're looking at the 90 overall, looking at the top right corner. Let's just scroll down. Let's just scroll down, man. We're going to scroll down. It's going to take us to get 14 spots. They're all power rushers and run stoppers, mostly power rushers, but you got to scroll down 14 spots to get your first speed rusher, who's going to be all the way down here at an 86 overall. That don't tell you something? These guys do not develop nearly as well as the power guys or the run stopper. You got to scroll down 14 spots to get to your first speed rusher. Let's continue to scroll down, man. And where are we going to get the next speed rusher? Let's look. Get the next speed rusher, 85 overall from Rice. And then you get a couple of them in a row. They seem to max out at like around that 85 overall, man. They don't develop as well as these other D tackles. So I'm avoiding these speed rushing defensive tackles at all costs personally. Yes, they're going to come in with some solid finesse moves, but I don't really need that for my D tackle, man. I don't, honestly. If they're not going to develop well overall, if they're never going to get drafted, like these players do not develop well enough to get drafted. You got to get to like that 87 overall, and we see here, these guys are kind of just maxing out at an 85. They're not going to get drafted. I want my players to get drafted because that's going to help with the pro potential, especially as a smaller program. So I'm avoiding these guys at all costs. Let's stay with the defense. Let's move over to the middle linebackers. And we all know how I feel about the athlete middle linebacker. Best guy in the game. Get him at all costs. Second favorite is going to be the pass coverage. Whether it's outside middle, I love me a pass coverage middle linebacker. Going to come in with that crazy speed every single time. What I don't like is the field general, man. And you look here. We got to scroll. We got to do more scrolling. Starting at the top. We got all the best middle linebackers in the nation. We're going to start at the top. We got to do some scrolling before we get to our first field general. It's not as much scrolling as the other guys, but we had to do some scrolling, about 10 spots almost. We get our first field general. He's an 88 overall. Cool. That's a good player. 88. Let's continue to scroll. Got to scroll even more. And we get our next field general all the way down. Keep going. Here, 83 overall. That's not good. That's not good. That's a big jump. 88 overall for the top field general, 83 for the next one. And you scroll, you get an 82 here. These field general guys are not developing as well as some of these other middle linebackers. So for me personally, I'm avoiding the field general, especially when you got two linebackers, the athlete, run stopper. Like I said, that's the best in the game. And then also, I love the pass coverage middle linebacker. Personally, I'm going right after them pass covers every single time. Next, let's move over to the free safeties. And someone mentioned to me, my hybrid free safeties always develop to great players and get drafted. Mine don't. And let's look here. We're at the safeties. We'll look at both of them, free and also strong safety. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the test. Let's just scroll down. So our highest safety here, we're looking at the over on the top right. He's an 87 overall run stopper. Run stopper, get some zone guys. All these guys are around 87, 88 overall. But you got to do some scrolling before you get to that first hybrid safety. You got to do some scrolling, a good amount of scrolling. It's the most scrolling we had to do, and we finally get one. The Purdue guy, he's an 84 overall. Okay. Keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Next guy is going to be from Kentucky, 83 overall. And you kind of seeing the theme. Most of these guys are not the hybrid safeties. They have trouble developing because their skill caps is so expensive. Or not skill caps, but for them to level up, it's so expensive. And you get another guy here that's going to be the third free safety that's a hybrid. He's an 81 overall. Let's come over to the strong safety. So the top guy starts off as a 90. He's going to be a zone guy. And let's do the scrolling. Let's see. How long will it take for us to get our first hybrid safety? Run support and also a bunch of zone guys here. Still scrolling, still scrolling. We finally get our first one. And he's only an 81 overall, man. These hybrid safeties. He's a senior also. He's the best hybrid safety in our league. And he's an 81 overall, man. If you got one to develop, you must be putting up some crazy stats with him or something. Because more times than not, as you see here, these guys just do not develop. 81 overall. Let's keep scrolling. See if we get another guy at least in the 80s as a hybrid safety. 79. That's the next highest for strong safety at least. Maybe you got to move these hybrid safeties over to free safety, and maybe they'll develop a little bit better. But as strong safeties, they're not getting it done. Don't go after these guys. Move them to cornerback. That'll be my suggestion, man. They'll be phenomenal cornerbacks for sure. Especially a guy like this. He's an 81 overall, and he's the senior. He got the 82 speed. That's nothing special. 82 speed. But his zone and man coverage is great, man. At least super solid. 89, 87, and then 78 press. That's good enough. Like, he could play cornerback, especially on my team, with good coverages on both sides of the ball. That's the exact thing I look for. I'm moving the cornerback instantly. That's all I got for y'all today. If y'all learned anything at all or enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go over to my Twitch. Follow me over there for our live streaming series. Other than that, click the video on the screen now for my temporary build.